God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because this moment is not random and these words are not reaching you by accident." You may think you simply paused for a moment, but in the unseen realm, something much deeper is happening. Heaven has gently guided you here, not with force, not with fear, but with intention, love, and perfect timing. There are moments in life when everything looks ordinary on the outside, yet inside the spirit, a quiet shift begins. This is one of those moments. Right now, take a slow breath and allow your heart to become still. You do not need to rush, you do not need to understand everything at once. God is not asking for effort in this moment, only openness. When the soul becomes quiet, truth can finally be heard. And today, God is speaking in a soft, steady voice, not to correct you, not to pressure you, but to remind you of who you are and where you are going. There is a reason the idea of 2 minutes matters so much in your life right now. Not because time itself is magical, but because what happens when you truly pause can change the direction of your thoughts, your emotions, and your faith. Most changes in life do not begin with loud miracles or dramatic signs. They begin with awareness. They begin when the heart finally slows down enough to listen. God says you have been carrying more than you were meant to carry. Not just responsibilities, but unanswered questions, quiet worries, and thoughts that return when the world goes silent. You smile, you continue, you do what is expected of you, but deep inside there has been a longing for clarity, for reassurance, for a sense that your life is moving towards something meaningful. Heaven has seen this longing. It was never ignored. Understand this clearly: a new beginning does not always arrive as something completely new. Sometimes it arrives as a shift in understanding. Sometimes it arrives as peace where there used to be confusion. Sometimes it arrives as strength where there used to be doubt. God does not always change the outer world first. Often, He begins by changing how you see yourself and your path. You may not realize it, but your spirit has already been preparing for this season. The lessons you learned, the patience you developed, the moments you thought were delays were actually forming depth within you. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. Even the moments you questioned yourself helped shape the wisdom you carry now. God says this is not about forcing destiny or chasing outcomes. Destiny unfolds when alignment happens. When your thoughts, your heart, and your trust begin to move together instead of pulling in different directions. That is why peace is so important right now. Peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of trust. And trust is what opens doors that effort alone cannot. A new beginning does not require you to become someone else. It asks you to return to who you truly are beneath expectations, comparisons, and fear. God knows your true nature, even when you forget it. He sees the sincerity of your heart, the kindness you offer quietly, and the resilience you show when no one is watching. In this moment, Heaven is gently reminding you that your life is not behind schedule. You are not late. You are not forgotten. The pace of your journey has been intentional. Some paths take longer because they are meant to build something lasting, not temporary. What is forming in your life now is meant to endure. God says do not underestimate small moments of awareness. A single realization can redirect years of struggle. A single moment of faith can lift a heavy burden. A single decision to trust can open space for clarity to enter. That is why even a short pause, when filled with sincerity, can become a turning point. You are being invited into a season of steadiness. Not chaos, not pressure, but grounded confidence. The kind of confidence that comes from knowing you are guided, even when you do not see every step ahead. God does not reveal everything at once because growth happens through trust, not certainty. As you continue listening, allow your heart to remain open. There is more unfolding gently, layer by layer, in a way that protects your peace and strengthens your faith. This message is not rushing you. It is walking with you. And this is only the beginning of what is being revealed. When you're ready, just say, continue, and I'll move forward with the next part, same flow, same depth, no mistakes. God says, now that your heart has slowed down, allow yourself to remain present in this moment, because clarity comes only when the soul feels safe enough to listen. You have spent a long time being strong for others, thinking for everyone, holding things together even when you felt tired inside. Heaven has seen this quiet strength, and it has not gone unnoticed. What you are experiencing right now is not weakness, it is awareness, and awareness is the doorway to transformation. There are seasons in life when effort alone is not enough, when trying harder only creates more exhaustion. This is why God gently invites you into stillness instead of struggle. Stillness does not mean giving up, it means allowing divine guidance to reach you without resistance. When the noise of overthinking settles, the truth that has always been within you begins to rise naturally. God says you have been asking questions without words. You wondered if your patience would ever be rewarded, if your inner voice was guiding you correctly, if your quiet faith was truly enough. The answer is yes. Faith does not always shout. Sometimes it simply stays. Sometimes it keeps going even when there is no applause, no reassurance, and no visible sign. That kind of faith builds foundations that cannot be shaken easily. Understand this clearly, a new beginning is not something you chase, it is something you align with. Alignment happens when your heart stops fighting reality and starts trusting the process. God has been working behind the scenes in ways you could not measure or predict. What felt like waiting was actually preparation. What felt like silence was protection. You are not meant to walk every step with certainty. You are meant to walk with trust. Trust does not require answers, it requires willingness. Willingness to believe that even when the path feels unclear, you are still being guided. God does not abandon those who seek Him sincerely, even when they struggle to hear His voice. There is something important you need to know about yourself. You are more resilient than you realize, not because you never fell, but because you always stood back up with humility and hope. Every experience you went through shaped your perspective, softened your heart, and strengthened your discernment. Nothing was random. Everything carried meaning, even if you only understand it later. God says this season is about internal alignment before external movement. Before new doors open, the heart must be steady. Before clarity arrives, the mind must release unnecessary fear. Before destiny unfolds, the soul must be willing to trust without control. This is not punishment, it is refinement. And refinement always leads to growth. You may notice that certain thoughts have been repeating lately, not to disturb you, but to guide you. These thoughts are invitations to reflect, not reasons to worry. When the same idea returns gently, it is often because the soul is ready to understand something at a deeper level. Do not push it away. Observe it calmly. God does not rush transformation because lasting change requires gentleness. Quick change can impress the world, but slow growth strengthens the soul. This is why your journey has unfolded the way it has. You are not being delayed, you are being shaped for stability, wisdom, and peace. Allow yourself to trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Destiny is not fragile. What is truly aligned with your path cannot be taken by someone else, cannot be missed by a single moment, and cannot disappear because of fear. God guards what He assigns. In this moment, heaven is not asking you to decide anything. It is simply inviting you to remain open. To flow naturally. Openness allows peace to settle gently. Openness allows the next step to reveal itself in its own time. You are not standing at the end of your journey. You are standing at a place of understanding. And understanding changes everything, quietly, steadily, and deeply. This message continues to unfold with care, not pressure, as you remain present and receptive. God says, now is the moment to understand what has truly been happening within you, because not every transformation is loud, and not every miracle arrives with sudden signs. Some of the most powerful changes begin quietly, deep inside the heart, where no one else can see them. You may have felt moments of confusion, moments where you questioned why certain things had to unfold the way they did, but those moments were not meant to weaken you. They were meant to awaken discernment, patience, and inner strength that could only be built through lived experience. You have been learning how to listen differently, not just with your ears, but with your awareness. In the past, you may have searched for validation outside of yourself, hoping for reassurance from people or circumstances, but God gently shifted your focus inward. This was not to isolate you, but to remind you that true stability comes from alignment, not approval. When you begin to trust what resonates calmly within you, external noise loses its power over your decisions. God says there is a reason you are becoming more selective with your energy. You are not distancing yourself because you are cold, you are protecting your peace because you are growing. Growth often requires space, reflection, and honesty with oneself. This is why certain connections feel different now, and certain conversations no longer satisfy you. Your soul is seeking depth, truth, and sincerity, not surface level reassurance. Understand this clearly: destiny does not rush, and neither does divine timing. What is meant to last must be built with care. God has been teaching you how to slow down emotionally, so you do not confuse urgency with importance. When something is truly aligned, it does not create panic, it creates clarity. The calm you are learning to choose now will guide you toward decisions that bring long-term peace rather than temporary relief. There is also healing happening in areas you rarely talk about. Old disappointments, quiet regrets, and unspoken hopes are being gently reorganized within your heart. God does not erase the past, He reframes it so it no longer controls you. What once felt like a burden is slowly becoming wisdom. What once caused pain is now shaping compassion and understanding in you. God says you are being prepared to receive without fear. In the past, you may have worried that good things would not last, or that happiness would be taken away. These thoughts were not signs of weakness, they were signs of experiences that taught you to be cautious. But now, you are learning that trust and discernment can coexist. You do not have to close your heart to protect it, you simply have to anchor it in faith. This season is also teaching you the value of presence. When the mind is constantly jumping ahead, it misses what is being offered now. God is inviting you to stay grounded, to notice the quiet reassurance, the subtle guidance, and the moments of peace that arrive without effort. Presence turns ordinary moments into sacred ones, because it allows you to recognize divine care in simple ways. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where understanding is forming. What is unfolding does not need force or pressure. It needs trust, patience, and openness. God's guidance flows best when the heart is calm enough to receive it fully. As this message continues, remember that transformation does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like clarity, like relief, like finally exhaling after holding your breath for too long. That feeling is not accidental. It is alignment. This journey is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to who you were always meant to be, with greater wisdom, deeper faith, and a steadier heart. God says, now take a slow breath and allow your heart to settle, because everything you have heard until this moment was not meant to rush you, frighten you, or pressure you. It was meant to remind you of something you quietly forgot while trying to survive, grow, and stay strong for too long. You were never meant to carry everything alone, and you were never meant to figure out your entire future in one moment. Life unfolds layer by layer, and so does destiny. There have been nights when your mind refused to rest, replaying old conversations, missed chances, and unanswered questions. God says those moments were not a punishment, they were an invitation to understand yourself more deeply. Overthinking often comes from caring deeply, from wanting to do things right, and from fearing loss. But now, you are learning that clarity does not come from thinking harder, it comes from trusting softer. You are entering a season where inner peace matters more than outer approval. The need to explain yourself, to prove your worth, or to justify your pace is slowly dissolving. God is teaching you that your value was never dependent on how much you give, how fast you move, or how much you endure in silence. Your value has always been constant, even on days when you felt uncertain or tired. God says, notice how your perspective has changed. Things that once triggered anxiety now invite reflection. Situations that once felt overwhelming now ask for patience. This shift did not happen overnight. It was built through experiences that shaped your discernment. You are not becoming detached from life, you are becoming grounded within it. There is also a quiet restoration happening within your faith. You may not speak about it openly, but you feel it. A gentle reassurance that you are guided, even when the path is unclear. God does not always reveal the full picture at once, because growth happens when trust fills the gaps. You are learning to walk forward without needing every answer immediately, and that is strength. God says, your heart is being prepared to receive blessings without fear and responsibilities without overwhelm. In the past, you may have worried that good things would bring new burdens, but now you are understanding balance. Blessings aligned with your purpose do not drain you, they support you. They arrive with peace, not pressure. This message also comes to remind you that healing does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without pain. The experiences that shaped you are not erased, they are integrated into wisdom. You are allowed to move forward without carrying guilt, regret, or self-blame. Growth does not require punishment, it requires compassion toward yourself. God says, you are not meant to compare your journey with others. Some people bloom early, some bloom slowly, but all bloom when the season is right. Your timing is intentional. The delays protected you, the waiting refined you, and the uncertainty strengthened your faith. Nothing was wasted. As you move forward, choose alignment over urgency, peace over pressure, and faith over fear. When you act from calm awareness, life begins to respond differently. Opportunities align naturally. Conversations feel lighter. Decisions become clearer. This is not coincidence, this is inner alignment reflecting outward. God wants you to know that this is not the end of something, but the beginning of a new understanding. A beginning where you no longer fight yourself, rush your healing, or doubt your worth. A beginning where trust replaces tension, and clarity replaces confusion. Now, allow this message to settle gently within you. You do not need to force anything. Simply remain open, present, and receptive. What is meant for you will recognize you when your heart is calm enough to receive it. And if this message resonated with you, take a quiet moment, stay with this feeling, and carry this awareness into your next steps. Sometimes, the smallest pause creates the biggest shift. If this message brought you calm, clarity, or even a small sense of peace, take a quiet moment and stay with that feeling. Let it settle within you before you move on. If you feel guided, you may gently acknowledge this moment by staying connected, so messages meant for reflection and inner strength can continue to find you at the right time. And remember, you don't need to rush anything. Carry this awareness with you, and allow the next steps of your journey to unfold naturally.